team.
Hey there guys, this is Malorian and this is the Orc Tactical Team, and what we're going to be talking about today is something that is coming up more and more in people's minds with the whole end times and all the rest of it, which is really, how do I deal with Herohammer? And for those who don't really know the term or where this is coming from, back a few editions ago, there was a world of Herohammer. So these characters were very, very strong. They had really insane magic items, and really, if single characters could go through a whole army by themselves. So really, whoever could build the best character, yay, you won the game. Now, the worry is going now at the end of times and 50% lords and characters, and with the high probability of moving to a combined profile for your lord in the monster, is this the return of Herohammer? And if so, how do you really deal with this? Now, part of this is going to be what I've talked about before. And the very best thing that I compare this to is it's the same thing as how you deal with a Death Star. Now, when you're dealing with a Death Star, it's one very, very strong unit that you do not plan to get the points from. You look at this and go, wow, that is a lot of points. It is very strong, and maybe I could concoct some crazy plan to take out that Death Star, but really, probably the best plan is just to try and mitigate it. So the first thing you want to look at is, can I really slow them down? How am I going to make sure that Death Star does not get to me? And that can either be through redirects, double redirects, trying to do little teases where I have a unit over here and it looks like they're going to come over around towards them, but they're fast enough that they can get away. Or even just a thing where, okay, you're coming. I jump into a building. Okay, now you charge me, you kill some guys, I jump out the back. And so all you've done with this Death Star is after, 3 turns of moving, 1 charging, now you killed a few guys, got no points. I'm in the back of a building, and you're going to have to spend the whole time trying to get around. So whatever you can do to slow down that Death Star is the way you're going to be slowing down a character. This is, let's say, something that could be very common is take 5 lords, right? They don't have to be on monsters. They can just be on foot. Maybe you're going to take 5 old bloods, and they'll be in a Unitosaurus. So the Unitosaurus on their own, they're not really crazy. They're not really a Death Star. But when the front of the unit is all old bloods, it is very, very, very tough. And all of a sudden, you just can't deal with it. Well, that's that Death Star. That's the type of thing that you want to try dragging away and slowing down. Now, you can't just do that. That can't be your whole plan. You have to get points from somewhere else. So what you have to really look at is say, okay, I am not going to get the points for that Death Star, for that character. Where else am I going to get my points? This is Warhammer. I need to get a 100-point difference in my favor, and I get the win. So first of all, hopefully, if that Death Star character, whatever, is not in the center and is more on one flank, all right, I'm going to look to the other flank, right? I'm going to slow down that flank that he's on, and I'm going to try and go for the other one. I want to be focusing on easy kills, stuff like fast cap, stuff like war machines. If I can find some way to take those off the board, already I'm up by 100 points, and if I can just stall, I get the win. Plus, maybe I can't get that Death Star, but this other block over here, this other block of source that doesn't have all the characters, I can get those points. So I'm going to be developing my strategy in one where I'm going to kill off the fast cap, get those points or skinks or whatever have you, and then I'm going to focus on that unit because you know what? I cannot guarantee that if I just kill off a few units of skinks, that I'll give me the win. Sure, that might be more than 100 points, but from magic or shooting or whatever, he might kill some of my stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's either a draw or who knows, maybe it goes back to his side. So, okay, I have to make sure I grab those larger points so that I can bring that win into my favor. Now, another part that can go with this too is that Characters are kind of in this interesting zone where they have a few weaknesses as far as magic go. So all of a sudden, maybe you want to start taking more of these things into your list. If you're really worried about characters, start looking into death magic, right? So that while you are doing your usual game plan of delay, delay, try and kill the stuff over here, every single turn, 6 dice death magic, 6 dice death magic, and try and kill off those characters. And that can be a massive swing. They're going to be taking these really expensive characters, and then through one spell, bam, that's a huge swing in points that can go in your favor. Or if nothing else, it can kind of make him start to double think what he's doing. If they know that death magic is short ranged and very dangerous, they might be like, whoa, I don't want to get too close to that mage. And all of a sudden, they're almost doing the stalling for you. They're holding back their characters, which is exactly what you want to happen. Some other things you can be going for is Dwellers Below. Spells like that really are saying, okay, I don't care that you're in a unit. This isn't a magic missile that's going to hit everybody and avoid just the characters in the front. No, every single model has to take a test or die. So, all right, you put 4 of those old bloods in that unit. I'll do Dwellers Below. Sure, you might be strength 5. Sure, you might have a higher initiative for whatever else you're doing. I don't care. I'm going to be casting that every turn, hoping that you roll that 6. Because especially if you're running lots of characters, the odds are in your favor, right? If you have 5 characters in the front rank, well, the odds are just a little bit worse than getting 1 a turn type thing, right? So, man, just keep on pumping out those spells. The Final Trans, there's another one. It's only going to turn a character to gold on a 6. Whatever, keep on doing that. 6 dice that spell every single turn. Now, there is a little bit of danger to this. Of course, if you are going to go for the magic route, there is the whole idea where, okay, I got this irresistible force, I suck myself into the warp. So realize that if you are going to embrace that strategy, that it could actually turn against you. But for the most part, 9 games out of 10, it's going to actually help you rather than hinder you. Now, of course, the last thing you want to do whenever you're dealing with the Death Star or super characters is look at the scenario. All too often, I have people saying, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to kill this thing? And they're going to concoct some crazy plan or focus so much energy on this one unit that they don't realize that, man, you don't need to kill anything. This mission here is all about capturing these objectives. This mission here is all about who can take over the most buildings. This, getting into the enemy's deployment, whatever. And they miss that. There's like, I got to kill that unit. So how am I going to kill that unit? Forget it. Look at the scenario first. That could be a very, very easy out, especially with some of these scenarios you just can't do with characters. Let's say you're playing Watchtower. Oh, you have a character and a monster? Good for you. He can come in and he can do some good killing, and then thank you. Get back out of my tower. You're done, sir. Get out. And unless eventually you're going to just stop attacking with him and attack with a unit, I don't care. Get out. Now, that kind of does bring it into one of the more harder parts of this. That is the difference between a Death Star and some of the classes of the Herohammer type characters, which is Death Stars by and large are on foot. They're very bulky, and you can use that to kind of use it to your advantage. Some of these Herohammer characters, they're going to be on dragons. They're going to be on things that fly, and that makes that very, very difficult. Of course, you can't really double flee them because they can really have the range to get to wherever they want. It's really hard to kind of draw them away slowly because they're just so fast. If you go out to the back of the building, it could be that they still see you. You have to be very careful to watch those line of sights, the true line of sights, to make sure they don't have it. One of the things, if you are up against that, is make sure that you try and have your things like cannons. If they're going to be going for Herohammer and going outside of units, make sure there's a threat to that. If you have access to cannons, if you have access to the Light Council and take all those banishments, you can try and kill them that way, but even some of that won't work. So what you can do is, even though you really can't redirect or anything like that, just start baiting them with some units, right? You have your bunker that might have a very important character, and you're going to put it just close enough that if he rolls an 11 or a 10, he can make the charge. And he'll go for it, hopefully, and then fail, and then there you go. Or you go a little bit closer, and you're like, oh, wow, all you need to do is roll a 7, and you got me. And then you flee. Okay, try rolling that 14. Oh, that's impossible? I guess I get away. Now, of course, if you're going to flee, that better be right near the end of the game, or you're about to shoot him down, because then you're going to rally and he's going to get you unless you have more time to flee a second time. But in the end, against a more competent opponent, what you really need to do then is, you're on the clock. You are saying, this model is so strong that I can't defeat it. It is so mobile and so fast that I cannot delay it. So what that really means is, you have to start off with what we said. I am not going to kill this. I have to kill this. And while doing that and putting together your plan, you have to make sure you come up with a plan that's going to do that as fast as possible. You cannot dilly-dally around with, okay, I'm going to try and set up these guys here, and then they can try and redirect. No, you have to find a strategy which is, take this and cram it down their throat and get those points as fast as possible. Because when that dragon character is done rampaging whatever it's going after, it's going to turn around and come around for the rest of your force. Now, you can still delay, like I said, try and do things like fleeing, maybe try and draw them in, jump into a building. That stuff can still kind of work, but really you just have to accept, I'm going to take losses. And it's even more important now to decide, like, okay, 100 points is not going to get the win. He's probably going to kill these couple of units over the course of the game. It is X number of points. I need to get X plus 100 and come up a plan that deals with that. Of course, the other way to deal with Herohammer is just fight fire, fire. They have their super character, you have your super character, and you come to the standoff, right? It's just like you used to see in some of the Once Bitten videos, where they have a bloodthirster and he has a Bretonnian lord on a hippogriff with the heroic killing blow. It's this whole thing like, oh, do you really want to do this? And then all of a sudden you cause a stalemate and then deal with everything else. For this to work, of course, you have to be a better general, because if you're stalemating this, that's not really giving you an advantage unless there's a point difference there. But still, it is another option. So some of this is kind of rumors. If in ninth they don't actually combine the profiles, if they just did this for those special characters in the end times, maybe this won't be a massive issue. And it will just more be about the 50% lords, so you can have 5 lords in the front rank of a unit, and then you're just back to those regular Death Star tactics. So we'll have to kind of see what happens. It's going to be kind of a wild and crazy time. And either way, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later. Bye.